Beautiful song. And I Love Her. Mostly a McCartney tune from A Hard Day's Night, 1964. Early Beatles days, they were still writing love songs, which can't really complain about that because they wrote some of the best ones ever. In this lesson, we're going to look at a few different things you can do with this song. You can just strum the chords and sing the song. We're going to need bar chords. They're all chords in the key of E. Of course, I can't sing it in this key, and we'll look at the chorus. So we'll look at just strumming through the chords, kind of a solo guitar version. We'll look at how to incorporate the opening lead so that you hear what two guitars are doing, because this was really done with George just playing this little melody and letting that note ring, keeping that going while John strummed the chords. So you hear this. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. But you may have noticed at the beginning of this, I kind of put those together. I got it right when it's necessary. Anyway, so we'll look at that in this lesson as well, as how to throw those together and make it work out. Something else really interesting happens in here. They modulate. It changes keys. It starts off in the key of E, although it uses chords 2 and 6 in the key of E, before it then modulates later on into the key of F when the guitar part comes in. When the lead guitar part comes in, the whole thing shifts up a half step into F now, F major, half step higher. We'll also look at what George did in these little arpeggios and talk about how they're related to the chord progression. So in the next segment, let's talk first about the chords and the strumming. Then we'll take a look at some of the lead playing and how to put it all together. The rhythm guitar part to And I Love Her is pretty basic. And if you hopefully you have the sheet out there, the chart that has the chords at the top and the words down at the bottom. And every measure is marked by the name of the chord or a slash. And a slash just means another measure of the same chord. So if you look at the intro, we've got F sharp minor and then a slash, which means the second measure of F sharp minor, then E and a slash. So that basically is 2 measures of F sharp minor followed by 2 measures of E. Now the chords are all chords out of the key of E. And so the one thing about the key of E is a lot of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, are bar chords. So in the key of E, we have chord 1, which would be E, chord 2, which would be F sharp minor, played with a full bar at the second, and your second and third fingers in an E minor shape. If you're not too up on bar chords, check my lessons on bar chords, because you really have to be pretty together with your bar chords for this song to work. That's chord 2 in the key of E. Chord 3 is a bar at the 4th fret, same shape for G sharp minor. Well, George Harrison added an incredible amount of stuff to the Beatles' sound. He's frequently underrated and overlooked, but And I Love Her is a perfect example of some of his incredibly tasteful playing. Now this song is, again, the rhythm part is a very simple strumming song, just keeping a 4-beat pattern going, playing chords in the key of E. There is this opening little riff that is very distinctive. The melody there lands on C sharp, and that's what George is playing. All he's doing is this, and letting that C sharp ring over the first chord. So hopefully you've got the tablature there in front of you to the lead part. It's 2 pages worth of stuff if you have it, and it's available as a guitar profile if you want to have that version too. But it's really just these 4 notes, landing on C sharp, which is part of the F sharp minor chord, and then the exact same notes, but the chord dropped down to E. So we actually have the sound of an E6 chord. So it creates a very nice little jazzy effect in there. So again, all John is doing is strumming 2 measures of F sharp minor and 2 measures of E. And all George is doing is this. And he does it a 3rd time at which point they land on the F sharp minor and start singing the song. He pretty much sits out the whole first verse, and that's why I've got the 9-measure rest of what's going on there. But what he does in the second verse now is comes up with these 3-string arpeggios of exactly the chords. So F sharp minor could be played as a bar chord at the 9th fret in the A minor shapes. Now if we just reduce that to the top 3 strings, we'd be playing the 9th fret of the E string, the 10th fret of the B string, and the 11th fret of the G string. Those 3 notes are 1, 3, and 5 of our F sharp minor chord. So all he does is a straight 8-note arpeggio there. So if you want to work on this part, really important to alternate the picking down and up. A 3-string version of C sharp minor would be done at the 9th fret as well. Well, the last thing I want to talk about in this lesson is at the very beginning, I put together George's part and John's part, and they really only overlap by 1 note, but it does require some pretty quick moving. So the way I played that was the first time I played the melody notes. If you look at what the tab to George's part, I've got that played up at the 7th fret, landing on the 4th fret of the A string. We want that note to be played with our 3rd finger so that it can keep ringing as part of the F sharp minor chord that we're going to do there. So a great way to finger this is change those notes from the 7th fret area down to the 2nd fret area, and use your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string and your 4th finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, your 2nd finger to come in there. This is very unusual fingering because what I'm doing is using my 3rd and 4th fingers at the 2nd fret, basically playing an E minor chord. Now what that does, and not using my 1st finger for anything, because what I want to do is move very smoothly into the F sharp minor chord, and on the first beat, make sure that I get the 6th and 5th strings.